How many licks? During one of our Just Add You seminars, one of the participants, a singer, shared how thrilled she was to have found the inspiration to go back out on auditions. It had been roughly 2 years since she'd done so, and she was delighted to have rediscovered her courage during our live event. A few weeks later, in a follow-up conversation I had with her over the phone, she revealed her despondency at the fact that no one had gotten back to her after the auditions she went on. When I asked her how many auditions she had gone on since our last event, I was surprised to hear that the answer was only 2. I remember telling her, I understand how you feel, but you can't just show up for 2 auditions, become discouraged, and quit. You've got to go on auditions continuously. In fact, it isn't something that you've got to do, it's something that you get to do. It is a privilege to have auditions to go on, and it is also a privilege to have something worthwhile to be bringing to these auditions. As we were speaking, the image flashed through my mind of that old Tootsie Pop commercial. Perhaps you've seen it. An inquisitive boy approaches a series of animals, asking each the now famous question, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop? In turn, each animal admitted not knowing because he never got to the center of the pop without taking a bite. One of the animals suggested that the young boy ask the owl because the owl was the wisest of all the animals. Upon hearing the boy's question, the owl grabbed the Tootsie Pop out of his hand, unwrapped it, and said, let's find out. He took a lick saying 1, a second lick saying 2, then took a third lick saying 3. Then, in a sudden act of unrestrained desire, the owl bit down into the center of the Tootsie Pop, turned to the boy, and smartly declared, a 3. The commercial concludes with the closing narrative, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop? The world may never know. I went on to say to the singer, you have great talent. And you have a great number of opportunities to put that talent on display. I realize that some of the people you sing for aren't going to like it, and others, even though they will like it, they aren't going to book you for other reasons. That's just the way that goes. But your opportunity is to embrace your talent and embrace the opportunities to display it and sing your heart out. Sure, you'll take some licks along the way, but sooner or later, someone's going to bite because what you have inside is delicious. And it isn't enough for me to be telling you this. You've got to be the one telling yourself this again and again and again. And you get to be saying this to yourself while you're in the process of taking your licks. Fortunately, this woman embraced the coaching, and she has been booking consistent work ever since. So, how many licks will you take before someone takes a bite of what you are offering? Depending on what you do for a living and how skillful you are at conveying that to other people, that number can vary considerably. The point is this, someone will take a bite, and that is their role in this equation. Your role is to continue extending your offers, taking as many licks along the way as need be. Besides, isn't it a privilege to have talents that you can share with the world? Would you prefer to not have talents? Of course you wouldn't. I mean, you wouldn't be taking any licks, but you also wouldn't experience any bites. And those bites are what makes the licks so worth moving through, because they're all leading you to that sweet sensation that occurs when the insightful person you're standing in front of recognizes what you're offering and takes a bite. So what does taking your licks look like in concrete terms? Well, the first prospect doesn't like what you have to offer. That's lick number 1. The next one can't afford your fee. That's lick number 2. The one after that has no particular use for your services. In other words, they're not qualified. Lick number 3. and on you get to go until someone takes a bite. Now, can this be discouraging? Sure. Although if you're clear about what you have inside you, in other words, the talents and abilities that you're offering to the world, then you will know that it is only a matter of time before someone takes a bite. Meanwhile, don't dwell on those who either cannot perceive or receive your value. They're not your clients. Move on. Your clients are the ones that when you meet in between the licks, they're the ones who bite. Your clients are the ones who enjoy the sweet sensation of how you contribute to their lives. So don't be discouraged by the others. Take your licks and move on. By staying centered and remaining focused on your gift, in other words, what you have to offer, you'll be able to continue extending your offers until you hear someone saying, "Okay, I'll bite. Let's work together." And when that sweet moment arrives, remember to show up fully. Appreciate this opportunity to share your gifts with the person who is showing their ability to perceive and receive what you're bringing to the table. Give them all you've got. This, after all, is the reason that you've been willing to take all those licks all along the way to get to this moment, to be connected with someone who can appreciate who you are and who appreciates who they are enough to accept your gift. I'm Billy Sparkle. For more tools for increasing prosperity, hop on over to Amazon.com or BarnesandNobles.com and pick up your copy of Billy Sparkle's Tips. Thanks for tuning in.